Hi, I'm Arizona Lawyer Julie LaBenz, and let's talk about what are the issues to be resolved in your divorce. Often people just get caught up in the emotional aspects of their divorce, which is a lot to take on, a lot to handle, and they don't spend time on the legal aspects, which really need their attention because your input is needed to complete your divorce. And what are those issues? Well, the first distinction to make is whether or not your divorce is with or without children. If your divorce is without children, there's less issues to be resolved, which I think makes sense because you don't have to resolve anything related to spending time with the children. So if you have a divorce without children, your number one issue is division of community property. Community property is everything that was acquired during the marriage, all property, unless that property was acquired by gift or inheritance and it was kept separate. With dividing up the community property, there can be many complex issues that can arise. Division of real estate can sometimes be complex if you've contributed separate property, money from that you had prior to marriage that you kept in your own name. Maybe you put that into a house that you co-own. Maybe you've had a house in your separate name and it's remained your separate property, but once you got married, the two of you started living there and then you've both contributed to paying the mortgage while you've lived there. There can be some complex issues related. How do you fairly divide up that property in a divorce? Sometimes you'll need to get a refinance. For example, if both of you are on a mortgage and only one spouse is going to keep the house, they're going to need to get the mortgage rewritten in just their name. There can be challenges with dividing up retirement accounts. There can be challenges with just figuring out what's fair. And should there be what we call an equalizer payment, which is if one side is getting more property, more items out of the divorce, then sometimes they need to pay money to the other side to equalize it out so that each side's walking away with an equivalent amount of value. So as you can see, sometimes, depending on the situation, division of community property can be complex. Other times, maybe you haven't acquired community property. That's possible. Or maybe it's just a few items and you already know who's getting what. Maybe you've already divided those items up. So sometimes it can be straightforward. Number two issue, potential issue at least, if you are facing a divorce without children, would be spousal maintenance. Now, spousal maintenance is clearly defined under Arizona law as far as what it takes to qualify. There's 4 potential ways to qualify, and the person requesting spousal maintenance has to show that they qualify under one of those 4 criteria. Those 4 criteria can be found under Arizona Revised Statute, Section 25-319, subsection A as in apple. So you can look there to see what those 4 criteria are to see if you qualify and what evidence would be relevant to show that you qualify. If you're both working, you're young, you haven't been married very long, oftentimes spousal maintenance doesn't apply. So, check out that statute, see if that applies to you or your spouse's situation. Now, Arizona does not spell out an exact number to be used. It doesn't give you a calculator to just put in you and your spouse's information and then it gives you a number. That we don't have that in Arizona. You can look at the statute under subsection B. It gives you different factors to analyze to come up with an amount and a duration and to determine whether or not it should be modifiable. But at the end of the day, you've got to make the proposal to your spouse in the court. So if spousal maintenance does apply, what's the monthly amount? How long is that amount paid for? Is it indefinitely? Is it for a certain number of years? And can either spouse seek to modify that amount, or is it non-modifiable? So division of community property, spousal maintenance, those are 2 issues that would come up or could come up in a divorce without children. Now, those issues could also apply in a divorce with children, but then there could be these additional issues related to the children. So, number 1, decision making. That can be joint or sole. And decision-making relates to religious training for the children, personal care decisions, healthcare decisions, and education. So will you and your spouse make those decisions together? Do you need to have any provisions about one spouse having the final say if you reach an impasse? And if you want to request sole decision-making, what are the reasons why? Why can't you and your spouse communicate and work out those issues together? You can also divide it up. Maybe say, we're going to have joint decision-making on religion and personal care decisions, but mom or dad has final decision-making on healthcare and education. So we covered legal decision-making. Then there's the proposed parenting plan. That is a year-long schedule of when the children are in each parent's custody. So what's the time frame that they're there? What are the days? Who's in charge of pickup drop-off? What happens during the holidays? What happens during summer break? What happens during school breaks? That should all be covered in your parenting plan request. With the parenting plan, it can be a short distance parenting plan if you live near each other, or it can be a long distance. So there's going to be different considerations with a long distance versus a short distance. And you literally need to sit down and make a year-long proposal for what that schedule is going to be. And then finally is child support. Now, Arizona does have a child support calculator. It is online. If you do a search for Arizona Child Support Calculator, you can find it and start filling it in. I have some other videos about how to use the calculator. You can check those out. So that's a basic overview. There are some other tax considerations and child tax credit and things like that. So health care. So there are some other considerations, but this is a general overview of the main 2 to 5 issues that could come up in a divorce with or without children. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please leave a comment, like, share. Let me know what you think about this video and let me know if it was helpful or if there's more information that you're looking for. Okay, bye.